it that hailstorm that pelted your ass on the golf course?
Yep.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, same one. So I decided to get an insurance claim on it, and it'd be like $6,000.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I've been waiting for a hailstorm to come through so I can get my shit fixed because mine has it too.
Yeah.
But I say that, but every time a hailstorm comes through, I don't do anything about it.
Super easy. You just call them like, yeah, I got a hail damage, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
You go in and get an estimate. They sent me a check for $6,000. I guess I don't have to get it fixed, but I'm going to because I don't want to devalue my car when I try to sell it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Makes sense.
But it would be nice just to take those 6 G's and roll it off.
Yeah. 6 G's and a quick trip to Vegas.
No, don't worry. I'll triple it. I'll triple it.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm coming back with it all, I swear. And more.
Yeah, so are you with this fantasy football stuff, did you see what your scores were? You said you didn't have anybody play tonight.
Yeah, no, man, I didn't have anybody playing tonight. Dude, my dad is whooping your ass right now.
Yeah, shut up.
I mean, you didn't have anybody play, but and he
what's
had 3
crazy,
guys.
your dad's whipping my ass, but I'm still projected to win. So
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be I mean, right now, I don't. It's like not crazy bad. It's not like he had a player put up 30 or 40. They just both put up 20.
yeah, the fact that for me that's a win. Mahomes only put up 20, and this Edwards Hilaire guy 20. I mean that's that's not bad. Like that's
Yeah,
probably
I don't know
Hilaire. I don't know.
that Hilaire guy. I didn't think he was gonna do that well. It was his first game out,
Yeah.
but
Well, you remember the last time Kansas City had a real running back, Jamal Charles. He balled out.
yeah, true.
I mean, lately they haven't had a running back, and they haven't needed one.
Oh, hold on. You said Jamal Charles, dude. What about Kareem Hunt before he kicked that chick?
That was very
They
short lived.
they had him briefly, man, dude.
Yeah. He was awesome.
Yeah, he screwed that shit up, dude. He would have had a Super Bowl ring now.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Well, I mean,
That's what you get for kicking a
I forgot
lady.
about
Yeah,
Kareem
asshole.
Hunt. I forgot about that dude.
Yeah. Well, that's because he's like second string on the Browns. Well, he's not a second string on the Browns. He's like a
He's just a
third down,
change-up.
like receiving back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like but they said apparently he's supposed to be getting like more touches, I believe is what they said.
They got a hell of
I think I
running backs.
drafted him.
It's kind of like
I
Denver.
did draft him.
There's a lot of teams with like 2 good running backs. Like
Yeah.
Denver's got Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay.
That seems to be the move here lately. Like just kind of getting the running back by committee type deal. Like unless you've just got the apex running back in the league like a Christian McCaffrey or something.
Even Christian McCaffrey needs a change up.
Yeah. Or just a couple downs off.
Well, and that's what Zeke even's got Tony Pollard, and he did really well last year.
I'm curious to see what this AJ Dillon does in Green Bay. Have you seen him? Dude, he's a monster, bro.
Is he running back?
Yeah, he's a running back, but his damn legs look like the running back, y'all. His legs look like damn oak trees. Like it's insane.
Remember that?
Do
you remember that?
He went
Sean
to Boston
Oakland
College. Guy? Oh yeah.
That's what
he got acquitted for all his shit.
Oh yeah, because didn't they say didn't he do some craziness or something?
Yeah, so with him, he was about to go to the league, and some chick said that he I don't know if it was raped her or sexually assaulted. I mean, I don't know if there's a difference between the two, but either way though, some chick said that basically lost his chance at the NFL. Nobody would draft him at that point. He got arrested, sat in jail waiting on his trial. From there, found not guilty. But you should see him now. I'll send you a picture of him. Now, dude, he doesn't even look the same, man.
You little guy.
He been on that jailhouse diet, and I feel I kind of like if he was found not guilty. So if he didn't do it, which I mean, not guilty, saying he didn't do it, type deal.
Yeah.
Man, I feel bad for the guy if that's the case, cause
Yeah. Well,
but he
remember that
probably I
story?
mean
You remember? You remember? Old A&M Commerce had that basketball power forward. His name's slipping me right now, but he was like the top Big 12 rebounder,
mhm,
and girl accused him of sexual assault or whatever it was, and basically she just picked him out of a lineup of the basketball players, and he wasn't even at. They found out later on he wasn't even at the party that she said it happened, and he went to jail, and he went through that Innocence Project
mhm,
nonprofit, and they found him not guilty. Hence why he ended up playing at A&M Commerce when he before he was playing at Oklahoma State. So
that's nuts, man. It's crazy how, like, stuff like that can happen, you know? Just
yeah,
somebody say one thing, man, and you're done. But anyways, we can get back to sports though, guys. We're sorry we went off on that.
he looks mean in
But
that picture.
did
You
you
just sent me a
see
picture.
yeah, did you see that? That
No.
that's him, that's his like jail shot.
Yeah.
Like if you can kind of tell in his face, he's starting to get like fat in the face.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. Look
um
like a defensive lineman now.
yeah, versus hold on, let me send this
Well,
one
I
to you. This one.
remember those pictures. They're like Sean
Yeah.
O'Daniel will do this, and you're like, oh god, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, there and then there were all those memes with him where
Mm-hmm.
like my favorite one was like the ref asking him, you know, heads or tails, and he's like, "We'll receive," and
Yeah,
then like Baylor gets the ball.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Well, that's the same time period I think Baylor was getting all that crap for what was going on over there. Um,
yeah, they had a lot of fuckery going on right then.
yeah.
That
What,
was when like their
what was the
football team. I
coach's
think their
name?
football team.
What was the coach's name?
I don't know, but he coaches at like Mount Vernon now, high school. I want to say
That's
out
good.
in East Texas. He just recently started coaching out there. Hold on, let me see. What was his name? I saw an article about
It's
him.
like
He was
Art
like,
something. Art
um,
Arthur Blank. No, that's the Falcons owner. I'm stupid.
um,
What was his name?
I know it's on the tip of my tongue,
Well, the
and I'm
last coach
trying to,
was Matt Rule. Art Briles. That's what his name was.
yeah, Art Briles.
Dude,
That's
I don't
it.
know how I got Art
He's,
right.
I want to say
He's playing for.
yeah, he is an American football coach currently with Mount Vernon High School in Mount Vernon, Texas. Think about that. He went from coaching
A top five school in the
Baylor,
country.
yeah, to nothing wrong with Mount Vernon if you're from there, but I mean it's a small town school, and you went from this top college program that just for sweeping all that stuff that was going on under the rug. Apparently, he was like in the know to a lot of stuff, was just turning a blind eye. But I think that goes on in a lot more schools than people realize.
Oh yeah. Well, it does happen, and I think it happens in all organizations and all,
Hmm.
everywhere.
Even outside of sports, yeah,
Yeah,
even
but
outside
sports
of
is
that.
like one of those where like, it's different than they're different than actors and singers where you kind of expect it to happen.
Hmm.
But with athletes, we don't really expect it. We kind of idolize these guys, and they're kind of like, like the JJ Watts and the Tim Tebows and the Patrick Mahomes and those guys. We expect them to be larger than life, and then when they do something crazy or do these
Hmm.
things that normal people do, we kind of crucify them, and whether or not that's correct, I mean that's I'm not here to judge them, but
Yep.
it just look at it like that's why they do it. They know that those jerseys will not sell whenever all these crazy things start coming out, so they try to hide it, and they think they get away with it and pay people off. And
I feel
I
like
mean,
it never. I feel like it doesn't work out ever though. Or I mean, it probably works out a lot more times than we realize it. That's
yeah.
why
Well,
we.
there's much.
That's why we think it doesn't work out often. Is just
Yeah,
because we
we we
hear about all the
we
wins.
hear about the stuff that gets out. Like, have you seen Ballers?
No, I haven't watched that yet. I need to get HBO.
So
Watch
there's
that.
basically it's The Rock, and he's this former NFL player, and he basically goes and is like, hey, I want to get into the business side of football.
Hmm.
And basically he gets in with this financial guru and becomes a part of this partner of this management company, and then he starts representing players, and dealing with their BS on the side, and he has this defensive tackle. It's like an up and coming defensive tackle. He gets signed with the Cowboys, but he keeps doing these crazy things. And like one of them, he hires a weed company that's like CBD company, and he hires
Mhm.
them. And the league's like, you can't do that, you can't do that. And his friend from home or whatever that hangs out with him is like, nah, dude, it's like it's CBD, all this stuff. And they're like, they're gonna drug test you, they're gonna drug test you. And he's like, well, it's just CBD for pain. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's really funny. You
Yep.
gotta watch it. But he has
It's just
this
pretty funny.
he has this hoodie that says High Life, and it's a marijuana leaf. And he takes a picture with a kid. The kid's holding the hoodie that has it on there, and posts it on Instagram. And the Rock's like, what do we gotta do to make this go away? And it's just
Oh,
funny.
that's too that sounds so funny too. It's funny if you think about it because The Rock just bought into the XFL,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
funny that he's got that show.
I like he's
Show is a
super.
prequel.
So in that show, he's like this super mogul, like just like a kind of up and coming badass in the NFL. But he's working in a private company, and in the last season, he actually tries to it kind of plays on like a real timeline, and there's real people in it, but there's fictional things happening. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
like the 2000 and or the season 4 or season 3, he's trying to bring the Raiders to Las Vegas.
Oh,
But
that's funny.
he obviously didn't really do that, but he kind of shows all the things that were happening in the background, and how
That's
people were
cool.
screwing him over and showing the darkness of it all. Um and this
Damn,
season,
I'm gonna
like,
get HBO just to watch this.
dude, it's
It
good.
sounds really
You,
good.
you gotta watch the first season. You gotta watch it from the first season.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it all the way through if that's
Yeah,
it, if I
dude,
start
I
it.
I watched season 3. When I was off, my first night off, I was like, I watched it all. Like, I watched the whole season 3 in one night.
Yeah.
It's one of those
No, I
types of
don't.
shows.
It's it's officially cool weather here,
Uh huh.
so I'm down to stay inside and watch a bunch of
But and there's like
TV
real.
shows.
There'll be
Did you
like
see this?
they have real player cameos on there as well. What's up?
Have you seen the weather change like here down south?
No, it's changed all over the country. You see, Colorado is like snowing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Like Colorado went from 100 degrees on last Sunday to snowing on Tuesday.
Bro,
We this morning it was like 50 something degrees when I left my house.
bro,
I
it
was
was
like, what is going on right now?
it was 75 today here. Do you remember that day when we played Top Golf? And I'm not gonna mention what the day was, but uh, it freaking got cold. Like, we were
Are
playing Top Golf, and it was like
out of nowhere.
75, and then out of nowhere, it was like an ice storm came through. And we
Yeah.
were luckily we were in like the suite, so it was kind of warm. But man,
Hmm.
that got cold. Like, it was like below 30 degrees in like a matter of an hour.
Dude, yeah, I will never forget that because we went from Top Golf to the hotel,
Yep,
and I just remember like coming back or when we left Top Golf, like you said, it had started to get cold then,
yep,
and it was already kind of cold when we were leaving there. But when we got out of our car at the hotel, I was like, "Oh no!" Like at that point, it had dropped. It was like you said, like 30 something degrees outside. It was so cold.
yeah. I was like, what the heck just happened?
One of us have a video somewhere of me running and yelling, "It's a cold bitch." I don't know who has it, but one of us.
Oh, that's funny.
Mhm. Yeah.
Let's get into
Good night.
you want to get into the fantasy football for the
Yeah.
weekend?
Yeah, let's do that.
Uh, so I have a couple teams, but we'll just go with our Simikai league,
Yeah, that works.
plus your dad.
Yep.
Uh,
The
his
jalapeno burn,
yeah, that's
Mr.
all.
Lane.
Yeah, so
Nate was cracking me up when he was like, they were like, "Who are we missing from the group message?" And I think it was you. It was like Dylan's dad, and then he was like, "Add the man."
yeah, 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 add the man. So so we got some a good matchup today. Obviously the game just ended.
Mhm.
The Texans kind of got swamped by the Chiefs by, I think it was 31-20
Mhm.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And no, 34-20. Sorry.
Yeah. To be expected too.
Yeah, yeah. So I was yes and no, because you remember last year. it was like a shootout. Like we thought the Texans were going to win, and then the Kansas City came back and kind of went crazy. So
Yeah, they in the playoffs last year. This was the game when
they went 21
the
up.
Texans. Yeah, they went up 21, and then
Yeah,
after that, I think Kansas City scored what, like 20 or 30 something
yeah,
unanswered points.
yeah. And honestly, that was kind of like I knew that at that point, like I wasn't betting against Kansas City.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because like
I was a fool and betted against them on that one.
there's
On my wedding day, dog.
well, and also like the Ravens, right? So
Mhm.
everybody's like, oh, they're gonna ride, you know, um, old Lamar Jackson and the big leg of Justin Tucker and all that stuff. Um,
Yep.
but I think that it, the Ravens remind me a lot of Atlanta several years back with Michael Vick, and not because they're the same style of quarterback, but they do the same thing. They play in the same type of game, right? So they both had, the Falcons back then had a work done type player. The Falcons had now
Mhm.
got Todd Gurley. They have the receivers that are like, I think this Atlanta team has a better receiving core than Michael Vick did, but it's very similar. It's very similar. The offense runs around the quarterback. As soon as you learn to shut that dude down,
Mhm.
what are we gonna do?
But
Like,
yeah, but this is where he's different from Michael Vick. Nobody's figured out how to shut him down other than in the playoffs. And
they've had 1 year.
that's why I drafted him though, because he's a great regular season player, and we only play regular season in fantasy. That's why he's my QB.
Well, think about this, man. They only had 1 year to do it.
Yeah.
They didn't shut Michael Vick down in that first couple years. So
Well, he was good last year and the year before last too. So he's had about at least two
yeah,
good
well,
years. Yeah.
the year before he was
But
what? He was
this
half the
last year
season.
really came on. Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
2004, right? This was the year
Mhm.
that they put Michael Vick on the cover of Madden.
Yep.
So as Jim Mora was the coach, they went 11-5. They were first in the NFC South, right?
Mhm.
Um, they won the divisional round of playoffs, so they went to the conference championship. And then let's see, I'm going to tell you who they had on this team real quick. So they lost the conference championship to the Eagles, and wow, this is
That was when
confusing.
the Eagles had Donovan McNabb, right?
Yeah, so that was the year. Do you remember they played the Patriots in the Super Bowl and lost by 3?
Oh, yep.
So that
Yep.
year, when I was living at home in Illinois with my mom, our cable blacked out during the last like quarter of that game.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it was not because
Like,
we
talk
like
about
didn't.
timing.
It wasn't because we didn't pay the bill. Like the whole area blacked out. Um,
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
um,
that's some bullshit.
hold on. All right,
That would suck.
so Matt Schaub was their backup. Um, Work done was the running back. Peerless Price, you remember that name?
Yes, I remember the
Receiver.
name. Yep. I
Uh,
don't remember the talent level. I just remember his
he
name.
was fast.
He, I was gonna say he must have been somewhat good if I've heard the name. Um,
Des White, Algie Crumpler, remember him? He was a tight end. Yep.
who they have
He
on defense?
so okay. Keith Brooking, he was awesome.
They
Demorio
have Warren
Williams,
Sapp still.
huh?
Was Warren Sapp on that team?
Oh, hold on. I don't think so.
Am I thinking of a different team right
Warren
now?
Sapp was on the Buccaneers.
Yeah, that's right. Wrong
Um,
team.
so they had. I'm just trying to. D'Angelo Hall. He just recently retired, or does he still play? I think he might still play. Even Michael Vick's on the defensive stuff because he lost fumbles. um, yeah, so Kevin Mathis, he was really good. Keith Brooking, Patrick Carney, um, he was a defensive end, and then Demorio Williams. They had a like a stout defense, like legit. Um, but my whole point is, I think this Ravens team is very similar, and they have like
Mhm.
they're not like the best at everything, but they have like a lot of really good players. But what are they without Lamar Jackson? We don't know. Like, you know, they have Marquise Brown, and then they got who's the tight end?
Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews. I
And
always think Todd
then they
Heap,
got
man,
then they
but
got Mark Ingram in the backfield.
Mark
Got a lot
Ingram
of
in the
marks.
backfield, and
They got a lot of
then
marks. They got Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews, Mark Brown,
uh huh,
or Mark Brown, Mark Ingram,
yeah, yeah. So,
Marquise Brown has been.
anyways, so I get back to the point, but like, the Chiefs, I was not betting against them, and I know
Yeah.
you loved the Ravens, and so
Yeah.
they, man, it's looking the
The
same,
The
dude.
Ravens, for whatever reason, Lamar has not performed in the playoffs, but I think he'll eventually figure it out. We'll see.
I
But
mean, he's only had a year and a half, so he'll get
yeah,
there. You
I just like him because I like playing with him on Madden.
know, yeah, yeah, chasing
But
around the whole time, really.
hell yeah, it works.
But
Yep.
so this game, I'll just give you a
Yep.
couple of stats.
The
Um,
quarterback's pretty much washed,
yeah, yeah.
except for on the INT part.
Matchup players.
Deshaun Watson, he threw 253 yards, a touchdown, one interception. And then he had 6 rushing attempts for 27 yards and another touchdown. So he had 2 total touchdowns, 20 total points fantasy wise.
Okay.
Um, then you had Patrick Mahomes. He also 20 points exactly. Um, he got all of his work done through the air, though. He didn't do nothing on the ground. He had 211 yards passing and then 3 touchdowns. So another 20 points from him as well. He didn't have any picks. Fantasy points wise, they washed, but obviously Mahomes, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, he played a little better. He had 1 extra touchdown, but
So we'll see. Like, I think Will Fuller. We talked about that.
hmm
So I have another league where I had to choose between DK Metcalf and Will Fuller, because my other two receivers are Keenan Allen and Mike Evans. So I'm not going to go against those guys. But uh, it's a PPR league, so I kind of got lucky with that. Will Fuller ended with
yeah.
19 for me, but his stat line was pretty good without touchdowns. You know what I mean? If he scores a touchdown, um, or big play, and he's in almost the 30s. So, um, I think he had 6 receptions, 118 yards, something like that. Let's
Yeah,
see. I can
yeah, I
pull
know
it
that
up.
Will Fuller. He turned out pretty well. I'm glad you didn't listen to my
112
advice
yards.
on Metcalf. I didn't realize Fuller was going to be the main one of the main targets there for Deshaun Watson, but it makes sense though because
They lost
I
D
mean,
Hop.
without DeAndre Hopkins, yeah, it's kind of a right
Man,
now it's open season on who wants to be the number one guy
that
there.
offense looks so much different without DeAndre Hopkins. He's such a
Yep,
big presence. Like when you
yep.
watch,
Well, because everything went through him.
well, if you like, and it was kind of that way before Chris Godwin for the Buccaneers with Mike Evans.
Hmm.
But if you
Yep.
watch last year, if you watched Deshaun Watson, your eyes focused not on Deshaun Watson but on DeAndre Hopkins because he has the
Hmm.
dreads. So he's like, obviously, you can
He's
point
easy to
him
pick
out,
out.
yeah, and
Yep.
you're like, what is he gonna do next? What
Yeah. I mean,
amazing!
he's insane
And not only like
talent.
athletic, he's a very intelligent route runner.
Yeah.
You don't hear that a lot about players that are like super athletic, but a lot of them are super intelligent and they know how to use their body to get what they need to do. They know how to like
Hmm.
intelligently run routes and intelligently
Yeah.
block. He's not
I still
just
don't know
the
if I would have traded him though
well,
for David Johnson
well,
because
David John, man,
I mean
apparently,
he don't get me wrong, he's good. He's had like 2,000 yard seasons or 1,000 yard seasons back in like a few years back. He's just been riddled with injury past
but
couple seasons.
so
So you're taking a gamble on him staying healthy.
what they were saying on NBC was what they were saying on NBC was uh that DeAndre Hopkins nobody could trade for him because they couldn't afford him.
Hmm.
They basically had to they had to find somebody that could they could accept his contract or whatever, and it wasn't,
Yep.
and they couldn't accept anything for it. They had to get somebody that was still on their rookie contract because they had no money.
Yep.
So it
Makes
was like,
sense.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I
And
mean, it makes sense on the financial aspect, and honestly, too, though. I mean, it. I wouldn't want to trade away DeAndre Hopkins, but I think right now, one, like we were saying before, almost everything went through DeAndre Hopkins. Teams can key on that and shut. I mean, he's hard to shut down, but they can slow it down per se. But then I think with him getting David Johnson back there, as long as he stays healthy, that's going to boost their running game. And when they boost their running game, it's going to open up the passing game more for Deshaun Watson, where he may not necessarily have to have
Yeah, because
a
he's
superstar wide receiver. He's going to be able to get separation from regular receivers because they're going to be biting on play action and
well.
stuff
You
like
remember a
that.
couple years ago, he was a dual 1,000 yard player, so he had 1,000 receiving, 1,000
Yep.
rushing yards. I
Hmm.
like I drafted him first in one of my drafts, and he was out the rest of the season. I was
Yep.
pissed
I did that last year.
with Le'Veon
I
Bell or
dropped.
with him.
No, with David Johnson.
Oh, last year even.
Yeah. I want to
What?
say I drafted him last. I didn't draft him in our league last year. I drafted him in my work league last year.
But was he? What did he get hurt again?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
He
I
got hurt
didn't.
again. Yep. He went down.
He
I
pulled
was
pulled a Jamal Charles, huh?
Yep. I honestly was like debating. I was like, I don't think I want to get him. I don't think I want to get him in the draft. It was in the first round. I was like the sixth, seventh pick.
Yeah, the
So
awkward
like for
spot.
hit, yeah, the awkward spot where like the guys that are kind of questionable will probably fall to because people are like, oh, I'll take the sure thing here.
Yeah,
And so it's like I was like, I'll take the gamble on him, and I lost that
I
one.
did. I went heavy on Juju Smith Schuster last year, and he didn't do jack.
Yep.
I ain't
Yep.
drafting him
Because
this
the
year.
year before that, he went
Balled
off. But
out.
you have to think about it too, though. Look who was throwing to him last year, though.
Yeah,
You know what I
Ben
mean? All year
Roethlisberger.
long. Yeah. So
Yeah,
which I think Ben Roethlisberger's about at the end of his rope, man.
dude. I don't know how he's still playing. Like
Yeah.
he's a big boy, but man, that guy's
Yeah.
hurt all the time.
You can tell too, like after each game, his whole body just looks like he's hurting. He's getting old, man. He's got to stop.
I know.
He's
It's like,
got to stop.
man, when did he come in the league?
Like
Probably
some
like
some some people, man,
2002.
just can't quit, man. Let's see. Well,
What do you think? What's the wager? I'm gonna say over and under
okay.
over and under 15.
I'll say 17.
I was
All
gonna
right,
go
we'll
over
look.
two. I would say 16 to 17.
Let's
Just
see.
look for his rookie year.
Yeah, his rookie year was 2004, so we're 16 years in,
Oh,
man.
that's a pretty good guess.
Yep, yep, yep.
2004 is a
He
common theme tonight. We're talking about Michael
Yep.
Vick in 2004. We're talking about Ben Roethlisberger in
Big
2004.
Ben came into 2004.
Sneaking in people's bathrooms in 2000 what 9.
Yeah,
Nobody
that
talks
was
about that
around the
anymore.
time that I want to say that was around the time that the Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre beef happened.
Yeah. You think about it, like I don't feel like there's as much drama in the NFL these days.
Yeah, that was 05. Rodgers got drafted 05. And then I think by 07 he had won the starting job. 07, 08, something like that.
Man, Rodgers and Ben Roethlisberger are a year apart.
Yep,
Rodgers
yep,
doesn't look nearly as beat up, even though he does get hurt a lot. He doesn't
yep.
seem as beat up as Ben Roethlisberger does.
Yeah, Roethlisberger doesn't seem like he's aged very well, man.
Yeah. Well, he's
Um,
also kind of fat.
yeah, I was about to say, like Rodgers looks like he's kept himself in like good shape like this entire time. Kind of like how, like same with like Tom Brady. Think about how long he's been in the league,
Yeah.
and he's still
2000,
in
1990. When did he
tip
get
top
drafted?
shape.
2000?
Yeah, I believe so. Let's
2001?
since we're at it,
1999? Well, he won his first Super Bowl in 2001, so 99?
mm, 2000,
2000, okay.
2000,
Yeah. That's back in the day. Kurt Warner was playing
sixth
for
round draft pick
the
in the year
Rams.
2000. Can you imagine? Every single team in the league could have had Tom Brady at some point,
Yeah. Multiple times
and they
over.
and they all said
Well, he
no.
he didn't play at Michigan.
Yep.
You know who did play
I'm
at
really
Michigan? Drew
I'm really
Henson.
curious. Yep.
He played for the Cowboys. You know what he did? Not a damn thing.
So I'm curious to see what happens. Like, is Tom Brady gonna go to Tampa and do good there? I think he will because they're
so
surrounding him
so
with
on that
talent.
note, let's get back into fantasy and we can
Yeah,
segue with Tom Brady.
we'll circle back into
Yeah.
that for
Well,
sure.
let's segue with Tom Brady. So give here. Okay. So we're gonna go. Let's go position by position. Give me three. Give me two quarterbacks for this week that you're picking to play. So I like this week I like Josh Allen, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So Josh Allen's added. a new running back, rookie running back. We'll see how he plays to
Mhm.
back up Singletary. He's added a new receiver, Stephon Diggs. They've added a few new pieces on defense. I think they're looking like I think they'll be a top three AFC team this year. I think they're definitely winning their division, but they are playing the New York Jets. The goddamn Jets, as Adam Sandler would say in Big Daddy. I like the matchup. I don't like New York's their play at all. You know, uh, it just doesn't look too hot for them. You know what I mean? So they just kind of seem super dysfunctional. Their star player doesn't even want to hang around. The biggest headline in the Jets world is a ex receiver is getting charged in a $24 million Ponzi scheme. Um, yeah, just it's looking pretty rough for that team, and you know, and I don't think they drafted very well. They drafted a good offensive tackle from Louisville, the Mekhi Becton, but
Mhm.
that's I mean I guess that's cool, but they don't have receivers. They don't have anything. I think Josh Allen's gonna have a field day. And
I'll tell you who I'm playing,
who you got?
and the reason why is because I've heard nothing but good things so far from their training camp. I'm saying you start Cam Newton, mainly because he's playing against
Cam
Miami.
Newton. They put
Even
a
even though he's brand new to New England, I think that one, when you're playing Miami, that's always a good matchup. At least right now, I don't think it's gonna be a good matchup, for much longer if they keep drafting well and stuff like that. I think they're gonna eventually build themselves out of the rut, hopefully, for their sake. But I think that it's a good matchup for him. I think he's excited to be in New England right now. I think they're going to ride that
right.
high into week one, kick the shit out of Miami. And then I think in week two is when you're going to start to see the road get a little rocky for him. But I think I like him as a start this week, just simply due to his matchup. And then secondly, two, that's the tough one, is the next one on who you're looking at.
Well, I'll tell you who I'm not starting. I'm not starting Lamar Jackson.
Why not? He's playing Cleveland.
Exactly. You know what happened the last time they played Cleveland?
What's that?
That Miles Garrett crap. That those games are never high scoring. They are like grudge
Mm-hmm.
matches.
The Miles Garrett. You talking about the helmet swing? That was when they played Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm thinking that he was playing
Yeah.
for. We were talking about Ben Roethlisberger. My brain's off. Um,
Yeah.
well, I'm not playing him. Like that team is dirty as dirty. Like their defense is not too
Mhm.
bad, honestly. I
Yep.
don't think I'm
Uh,
playing Lamar. I just don't like the matchup. Typically,
yeah.
I would. Russell
Lamar
Wilson.
Jackson, regardless of matchup, I think I'm playing him every week.
Well, I'm
I
saying
I'm I
like
mean,
top
maybe may
two.
not like his matchup
Yeah,
per se,
yeah.
but I'm gonna play him every. If you got him, you gotta play him.
I
Um,
like Russell Wilson
I'll,
this week.
yeah, against Atlanta,
Yep,
a struggling Atlanta team
yep.
for sure. I like Dak Prescott as
Mm.
well. He's playing. He's going into the Rams.
We'll see.
He's got new weapon with CD Lamb. I'm curious to see how CD Lamb plays. But also too, you have to remember this off season. The Rams got rid of a couple people on defense. Um, Lost quite a few pieces on their defense. I like that matchup with him just because he's got Amari Cooper healthy. Zeke's going to be there to open up the passing game for him. Um, Gallup, if he plays like he did last year or better, is going to be a good target for him. Um, like I said, I'm real curious about CeeDee Lamb. They've been saying he's been showing out in camp as well, and then he's even got the safety blanket of Blake Jarwin. A lot of people don't think about him too much because Jason Witten came out of retirement, kind of overshadowed him. But when Jason Witten was doing his broadcast thing, he was playing good then too. So I
Yeah.
think he'll be a good safety blanket. I like Dak Prescott simply because he's got quite a few people to
Get
dish the rock to.
give. I do. Of course, I'm a huge Cowboys fan, but
Yeah, it
get
kills me to say that.
get
I hope you know.
get give them a couple games. Um, it's unfortunate that we had a new coach, a new offense, everything's new. Whenever this COVID stuff happened, because we didn't have any preseason games to run through
That's true.
You
That is
know,
true. I
they had
didn't
a
even
blue
think
and
about that. I forget about that.
they had a blue and white scrimmage, which is great, cool.
But
But
that's
you're
that's like
it's
first team playing second team though. That's
yeah,
not.
it's different. You know,
Yeah.
they didn't have the the preseason games, and so they did a lot of things virtually. Um,
Mhm.
they didn't even like hardly, and they had training camp together, so that's good. But it, it's kind of like I don't know, man. Things change when when you play the game because you get punched in the mouth. Now what, And
Mhm.
I think Mike McCarthy's smart enough to give him a simple enough system, and then wean like slowly lean him into the system and not just throw the whole thing at him. And I'm
Mhm.
sure that he's going to pick plays that make sense, and the team can kind of, you know, um,
Mhm.
you know, kind of move into and not just. I don't see them shit in the bed or anything, but I think it's going to be kind of a rough start at the beginning. I think if the Cowboys go 0-2,
Yep.
I would not be surprised. And then I could see them resurging and winning like 4 or 5 in a row. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
You're just prepping for it. I got you.
oh, dude, I
Yeah.
prep, man. Every
Hey,
year I
make it
prep for.
make it making sure that you're ahead of the curve, saying, "Hey, I told you this was gonna happen,"
Yeah, yeah.
versus all the
But
other uh, hopeless romantics for the Cowboys.
I've always been a realist Cowboys fan. I may be the biggest Cowboys fan on the planet, but I am not going to sugarcoat the Cowboys.
You're no Skip Bayless though.
Yeah. Dude, man, that guy wears me out. He was talking
Yeah.
about Dak Prescott having he was like talking crap about Dak having depression this summer. He's like, you're the you're the top quarterback of the the large the biggest brand in sports and all this stuff. You need to get over it. It's like his brother committed suicide this year. Like, calm down. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
his brother committed
Yep.
suicide and his mom died a couple years back. Like,
Yep.
dude's going through it.
Yeah, I hadn't had it particularly easy as far as that
Especially with
goes.
COVID, man. You can't go hang out
Yep.
with friends and like
Yeah,
yeah.
they were partying anyways.
I know they were
Z got
those
Z got
buttholes.
in trouble. Yeah, partying. Everybody got COVID.
But think about that. Now looking back, does anybody really care?
Mm, I do.
I mean,
No,
just being honest. Like,
no.
I
But
mean, I get it.
at
We need to
least
stay
they probably
safe.
won't get it during the season.
But like at the end of the day,
You
you
probably
really
won't
care
ever
if
lose those guys to that.
do you really care if an athlete that makes millions of dollars is partying? Don't care. Just
No. Yeah. In regards to everything with, we won't get into details, but everything regarding like what athletes do and don't do. At the end of the day, like you said it best the other day when we were talking off record, where you're just, it's just football. I'm just
yep,
watching football.
yep,
You know,
yep,
so
yep. That's exactly
like
and
I don't care what they do in their personal life. I don't
yeah,
it
uh,
what their personal views are, whatever they're entitled to, all of it.
yep.
I just want to watch football. I just
Because
want to
I
watch
tell you
two
what,
dudes
yep.
knock the shit out of each other.
Because if I did care what they did in their personal life, I wouldn't be watching sports. I wouldn't watch Tiger
Correct.
Woods.
Yep.
You know,
Wouldn't watch anything. Yeah.
screw it. I
You
don't
could
care.
find something wrong with everything.
What's the difference between that and actors and singers?
Yep.
I like I
Exactly.
talked to like I said earlier today, like earlier on this podcast was like we for some reason hold athletes in a higher esteem than we do actors and singers, which I get it because we all do this. We're not all singers and actors, but we all play sports, and I get that piece. But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, they're all humans. We're all humans. No reason
Yep.
to treat them worse or less, or
Yep.
they can't do this and that. Who cares? Just
Yeah.
watch them
It's
play
like, why
football,
not?
man. It's
Yep.
just a game, brother.
Exactly. Exactly. Just
That makes
yeah.
billions of
Everybody,
dollars.
everybody's got to take one giant chill pill and just
Yep.
watch the game. Just watch the game.
All right,
And
all
if you
right.
don't want to watch it, don't watch it. But
So, all
all
right,
right,
you got
running
quarterback.
backs.
Yep,
The running back.
yep. Let's do it.
What matchups you got this week? Mine, first foremost, hands down, Christian McCaffrey. He's going against the Raiders.
Yep.
Uh, I don't think the matchups get any better than that, man.
Yeah.
He's a must start if you have him for sure. My I don't want to say necessarily sleeper start, or because he's still a really good running back. He's just not like upper echelon like your Christian McCaffrey, but he may be somebody that you have on your team. Um, Eckler for
Mm-hmm.
the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing against Cincinnati this week. I like that matchup. They've got a rookie quarterback, although he is the number one pick overall, and Joe Burrow, but I think he's going to struggle in his
Mm-hmm.
first game. He's playing against a really good Chargers defense. I think they're going to get to him, which what that means is that the offense for Cincinnati will probably not be on the field much, which means that the Chargers are going to be dictating the pace of play. I bet Eckler gets a lot of touches because of that. So I like that matchup if you
So
got him.
yeah, so I like and I agree with you 100%. I think that it's gonna be interesting. I think the running backs are always super tough to judge because you're like, okay, what is the
Mm,
defensive line going to be like? What is what are their offensive line? Who's hurt, who's not hurt,
Mm-hmm.
all that crap. I'll give you two right here though. I'll give you the first one, Josh Jacobs. Um, he plays for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
First year in Vegas. I think he's gonna ball out, and they are playing. Oh my god,
Carolina.
yeah, they're playing Carolina. Carolina, they are what they are, man. They're bottom tier in the NFC South. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
New coach. Um, we'll see. I just don't see their defensive line stopping Josh Jacobs. And as long as Josh Jacobs stays healthy, I think he's going to be one of the top running backs this year. Um, I really like him, honestly. And then the other one, I really like. This makes me nervous because I don't know. Just because the Chargers' defensive line is really good, but I like Joe Mixon this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why. Yes, Joey Bosa is just straight up a badass. But I don't think their defensive unit is 100%. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I think that Joe Mixon's going to get a lot of touches. And as long as he can find some lanes, I think he's going to go for a lot of yards. And the reason why he's going to get a lot of touches is because they have a brand new rookie quarterback and they're going to want him to feel comfortable. They're going to want
Mm-hmm.
first downs. They're going to want to move the chains and then run some play action, do it right. Um, as long as Joe Mixon, as long as Joe Mixon lowers his shoulder and pumps the legs and gets extra yards, I think he's gonna have a good day. So I got Josh Jacobs and Joe Mixon.
We got to move on to receivers too.
Yep.
Who Who are you, liking as far as matchups this week, receivers wise?
Man, I
You,
don't I don't know what it is. I hate the Redskins, but I like
mm-hmm.
Scary Terry a lot. I think
I did too. I had him last year in one of my leagues. He did really well. But he's a boomer bust, man.
I
Boomer
know that's the
bust.
thing. It's scary. And they're playing Philly, so Philly's gonna play tough. Nothing really rings the top on like for Philly like defense wise this year. I don't know how great they're
Yeah.
gonna be. I don't know much about them. I haven't heard a lot. Um,
I'm curious if their focus will be on Scary Terry though, because you remember what he did to him in the season opener last year.
what
He
happened last year? I don't remember.
let me pull up his stat line. I remember this because I claimed him off of waivers last year after he played the Eagles. He had a baller day. That was I want to say that was the one where the Eagles or the Redskins went up, and I want to say the Eagles ended up blowing the lead on it. So last year, this is why you got to say this is why I say boomer bust. A lot of his receptions go for big yardage, but
Yep.
it's all deep. It's all deep balls for the most part. He had 5 receptions, 125 yards and a touchdown, 24 total fantasy points.
Damn,
Yeah.
it's wild.
On his I believe he was rookie last year as well, so that was his NFL debut.
Well, and I'm just talking about this week because they're playing Philly. We'll see.
But
Um,
well, that was against Philly. That's what I'm saying. Like
okay.
I'm curious because like I didn't see. I think they had one pickup on the secondary this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't think they made much more improvements, and that was one of their weaknesses last year was uh, covering the passing game.
And another receiver I like a lot this week is Devonte Adams. Um,
I love that matchup.
Minnesota is. I don't know what happened, man. I feel like they're
Fire
sputtering into the
sale,
season.
fire sale.
Yeah, I feel like they're sputtering into the season. Although I did like Kirk Cousins' comments about the whole COVID situation, but
hmm
besides that, what have they done? They lost like their defensive line. They lost Everson Griffin, which he's on the Cowboys now. Um,
hmm
they They lost Stephon Diggs, which it doesn't affect Devonte Adams as much, but um,
They
uh,
did lose somebody from the secondary though. They
yeah,
traded
they lost their top dude. I
to
thought,
somebody to the Jets, I believe.
yeah,
Who was it?
because didn't he replace old boy from the Jets? Didn't they lose Xavier Rhodes?
That's who it was. Yeah, Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander. They lost all three of those guys in the
Hmm.
secondary. I love that Devonte Adams matchup.
Yes, that's gonna be a good one. He's got, and then of course you got Aaron Rodgers throwing to him. I mean, obviously this is just talk. We'll see what happens. But Aaron Rodgers said that he said, to be honest, the quarantine's one of the best things happened to him because he's gotten just focused in his uh, place of zen, I guess, where he's been able to refocus. So we'll
He's
see.
kind of a weird dude.
He kind of is, but I like it.
It reminds when you said that, I was imagining the dude on Grandma's Boy,
Oh,
Mr. Cheezel.
oh, he can, or it more like reminds me of the dude that's selling him the weed. He's like, "Whoa, you can't be loud like that when the lion's here, man."
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's funny.
Yeah, but no, he said that apparently he's refocused. He broke up with Danica Patrick, which means that he doesn't have any distractions anymore. So
Yeah, look at that.
that's what always happened. Even Tony Romo got better too when he broke up with his girlfriends. It always happens.
Hey, man, Tony Romo knows how to pick them.
Yeah.
Carrie Underwood,
Mm-hmm.
Jessica Simpson, like,
Yep.
jeez.
That's why he played like shit every time. He was
Well, every
too
man,
distracted.
it would wear me out. Every freaking play, they would show Carrie Underwood's reaction. I'm like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, I
What I
don't
used to
care.
find funny is whenever he on like away games or whatever, people would bring the damn Jessica Simpson like little faces
Faces.
and put them over their
Yeah, I
faces
remember.
while the Cowboys were on offense. So
I love that.
yeah,
It's hilarious.
but no, I do
All
like
right, so
Devonte Adams for sure. It's gonna be a good one.
what do you got for you, man?
Yeah, on the
By the way, all the
mm,
players I've picked, besides one, have been on my team.
oh really?
Yeah,
Mm.
that's actually what I'm going off of.
Oh
So
nice. That's how you're deciding your picks.
yeah,
There you go. That's always a
yeah.
good way to do it. Um, a
I'm
guy,
just reassuring myself.
yeah, a guy I like this weekend as well. You said Devonte Adams. Another one that I like is also a Green Bay receiver. The Green Bay receiver. It's gonna be that
Green Bay was Siva.
receiver. Receiver. My name is Mike Tyson. No, I like that Alan Lazard with Green Bay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So he's officially right now listed as the number 2 receiver on their depth chart. Um, so that I'm
Mm.
assuming that means that he could get quite a few targets, especially if like the Minnesota defense starts keying on Devonte Adams. Devonte Adams really about all we have to throw to other than running backs coming out of the backfield. So the rest of everybody else kind of like unproven receivers, just young guys. This Alan Lazar guy, he had a pretty good year last year whenever he actually got in. Um, Aaron Rodgers talks highly of him. It's one of those like he's stated like, "Hey, I want him in the game," and it's like rumored that like Aaron Rodgers like he will be like, "Hey, if you don't know what you're doing, like I'm gonna tell coach don't put you in because I'm not throwing it to you." So like
Yeah.
if he's got faith in him, that means that he's gonna throw to him. If he's the number 2 receiver, he could get some looks, especially like I said, if they start keying on Devonte Adams. So that's kind of one of those borderline players. If you're in a deep league, that would be like a good start for like maybe a 12-team league. A 10-team league, it really just depends on what you got on your offense. Um,
I think 10 teams is the best number.
I agree because 12. So I've done leagues with 10. I've done them with 12. The 10-team leagues, it's great because whenever people get hurt, then you can usually find a decent
A
you put
decent backup.
decent backup. You're not gonna find somebody that probably puts up the exact same production unless it's one of your role player guys on the
But you can
team.
find legit sleepers, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, and it's guys that like it, and also too like you can find these guys if you're just paying attention and watching all the games every weekend. That's the problem is a lot of people don't watch a lot of the games. So like if you're not watching like the actual game itself, you're not gonna catch those guys that do enough to maybe get 8 or 9 fantasy points, which is good to get out of like I said, kind of a role player per se on your fantasy team. You just got to pay attention to the games. That's how I picked up Scary Terry last year. I happened to watch the very first game of the season, which was or of day for week 1, and it happened to be the Redskins Eagles game, and I saw him going off, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And
Yeah.
claimed him on waivers. Nobody paid attention to him, and I got him just like that. You just got to pay attention to it, and you'll catch those guys. In
That's
the 12-team league, though, that's hard to do. Like,
several years ago. I did that. I think it was in like '08. I just remember specifically because I picked up two players that just went off and nobody was thinking about it. Was Chris Johnson,
mm-hmm,
running back, and then Miles Austin. And I picked up both those dudes just in time for them to blow up. And I got all the way to the final, the championship for my league, and I lost. But I was like, I was watching football so much.
mm-hmm.
Being in middle school, I think that's all I cared about. I didn't have anything I cared about except for football. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna watch football. I obviously can't do that anymore, but
Yeah,
um, I would put my eighth grade self against me right now in fantasy football, and I would lose
get your ass kicked every time.
100%, 100%. And like in knowledge of the game, absolutely he beat me. He knew that kid knew every single player on every single team because they played Madden like crazy. I knew the backup to the backup. I knew who was in the free agency. So did you have your all three of them, or did
Yeah,
you have
but
two?
I'm not sure. I think I hit the one. I think I only went over one, but
Yeah,
that'll work.
Lazard, right?
Yeah, Alan Lazard. I like him. If you're thinking about playing anybody else, don't do it. Play him.
Just him. Bench everybody else.
Yeah. So.
All right, so and then I'll go with like my favorite pick every week, just overall. Um, and I try to get him in most of the leagues that I played in. I ended up only getting him in one out of the three, but I picked up his counterpart. Is Travis Kelsey. I love his style of play. I love his just the targets he gets.
He's an
He gets
impact
the end
every
zone
game.
targets. He impacts every game. He doesn't get hurt. Knock on wood.
Yep.
Um, he's a resilient dude. And then George Kittle. He's the other one.
Mhm.
Judging by last year, the 49ers like to run the ball, which typically means
Mhm.
that the tight ends get a lot of looks. So if I couldn't pick up Travis Kelsey because he'd go first, I'd pick up George Kittle, and then the third tight end would be like Zach Ertz. Those are my three
Mhm.
dudes. Like for tight ends, like I don't think it gets much better than that. Another good play is Evan Ingram. He gets a lot of looks on the Giants, and we'll see. Uh, Jason Garrett was pretty good about getting the tight ends the ball in Dallas. But Evan Ingram's like way more athletic than Jason Witten ever was. So we'll see what he does with that. But those that's I think the tight end could be one of the one positions that could really set you over the top if they play consistent.
Yep.
Because like a good one will get 25 points and a bad one will get 4.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And another one too that we're not mentioning either is Mark Andrews with Baltimore. Man, he's another one that he kind of came out of his shell last year too. He's a main target for Lamar, mainly because it's insane. It's like video game stuff that Lamar Jackson does. He'll be running, scrambling out, and realize that guys are closing in on him. Stop, pull up, hit Mark Andrews because he's just a big ass
It's a
target.
safety net.
Yeah, and it's crazy like how. But the thing is too is Mark Andrews can also get downfield. There were multiple plays last year where he got downfield, kind of over the top that seam route through the middle. You know.
That's that old Jason Witten play.
Yep, and he'll
The Cowboys used to pull out of their butt.
Yep, and just hit him right on that. I
Yeah.
like him too in there. Another one
Yep.
I like, Jared Cook. Man, he's as long as he has Drew Brees throwing to him, I like him. So,
Yeah, and I used to love the Drew Brees Jimmy Graham connection.
hmm
And then Jimmy Graham wasn't anything after he left. I don't know what happened.
yeah,
Um, Such a big guy and so much so much athleticism.
yep,
When he went to Seattle, it was like, oh,
yep,
who are you?
yeah. And then we
You
got him
know?
in Green Bay, and he had damn bricks for hands. It was, it was,
Yeah, like what
it was
happened?
crazy. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he got complacent in training type deal because that's what I've noticed too. Like it doesn't. I mean, not every single player keeps that initial drive that got him to the league, there, and those are usually the ones that we sit here and talk about like this. I'm not saying that's the case, but I mean, you can make an
Yeah, no,
argument that could be the issue because I mean, even in some of his play, like with Green Bay, it could just be me having high standards because that's my favorite team. But like, there would be some plays, man, like Rodgers would throw him the ball, and like all he had to do is maybe jump a little bit for it. Like I get it, it's not a perfectly thrown ball, but like go up and make a play. Don't be afraid to
you know,
leave your feet.
Drew Brees was such a good. He throws such a like catchable ball. You ever
Yep.
notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's
He's
not
spot
beaming
on
it
with
at
it.
you. He's just accurate.
Yep.
I was watching shout out to Luis Perez. I was watching that he's been training with Drew Brees this summer.
Oh,
In some
really?
of his camps and stuff. Yeah. I saw in some of his Instagram stories, but um, Drew Brees is another one, man. For a quarterback, if you're looking at you don't know who to play, he's on a lot of people's benches this year,
Yeah.
but I think he's still a top 10 quarterback. I think he's still going to put up his 20 points. He's the all time leading passer in the NFL history right now, and you know he's going to put his numbers up. He got hurt last year. He broke his hand. It's not like he tore his knee or broke his collarbone or got concussion. He hurt his
Mm-hmm.
hand. That's what happens when you're a quarterback. He didn't tear his shoulder, so I think that he'll be just fine. And Drew Brees is the type of guy that you know he's going to train his butt
Yep.
off to make
As
sure
long
it
as he's in
works.
the league, man, he's gonna be
I, I just don't think people. I think if you don't have a good quarterback and you're looking at like I need to get a new quarterback and you have some trade bait, you could get Drew Brees pretty
Mhm.
cheap. The people are like I don't think anybody's like, "Hey, Drew Brees is my
Yep.
guy." You know what I mean? And the same thing goes for Aaron Rodgers. Both those guys are still going to put up numbers, but they're both on
Mhm.
people's benches this year.
And it's yeah,
You know?
but the thing
Like
is though is
think about
for
it.
you to get them
There was a
cheap, you've got to go now. You got to try and trade now for them because when they start
yeah,
playing
you
and
got to
they
do it
start
now.
producing,
Yep. Yep.
that's when people are not going to want to give them up. So you've got to go trade for them now. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be tough to get cheap,
You know
but
who I don't love this year? Man, you say that, but like you look at back. Do you remember when we had that fantasy draft that was an auction? We did it at Twin Peaks,
that was when.
um, several years back. Do you remember that? It was like several years
Oh, where
ago,
we linked
like
up with everybody.
2014 maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when we
it
hit
was
up
Jeremy's
Wild Pitch
friends.
for it.
So it was Wild Pitch or Twin Peaks, one of the two. I can't remember, but yeah, Wild Pitch. That's right. Um,
One of them.
they
Yeah,
they did the auction draft, and you get $200, and and
I like the auction draft a lot.
one of the people put $75 down on Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, it's fun. I want to do it. It's just more
Yep.
fun in person
Yep, I agree.
because then you're talking
And
crap to
trying to
people, and you're
it's
like, oh,
it's kinda like playing
add
a little
more,
bit of a game of poker with them. You kinda gotta look to kinda see who's bluffing, who's not, who's really willing to pay that much for somebody.
and then catch people, like Jillian Edelman's. I caught him
Yep.
for like $12. Um, but like you just look at the fall from grace when people's perception. Not that Aaron Rodgers has gotten any worse, but just because he's gotten older and there's these
Mhm.
new shiny toys, Mahomes and like Aaron Rodgers used to be the Patrick Mahomes of
Yep.
quarterbacks for fantasy football. Like the only quarterback that would get drafted in
Right.
the first round was
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? And now Patrick Mahomes
Yep.
is like him and Lamar Jackson. Um, but I'm not saying his value is any less. I think that his value is more now
He's
because
somebody that can
he
slide.
is.
He'll slide a
You
little
could
bit
get
and you
him
can
for
get him
less.
later. Yep.
Yeah. He's like that
Yep.
older vehicle with low
Yeah.
mileage.
Exactly.
You know what I
There's
mean? It's still
all the
a sweet
maintenance was
vehicle,
done. Carfax is
you know?
clean. Well, not
Yep.
too not well,
Yep.
let me rephrase
All the
that.
maintenance is done on
Carfax ain't
him.
too clean. He's got a couple couple bang ups. So,
Injury. Well,
no,
he
he
had
broke
ankle
his
problems, right?
collarbone and knee. I believe he had a
Oh,
collarbone issue,
I
but I
think
know
it
he had a knee
I
issue.
believe it was
I know he had a knee
it's
issue because we had to
his
play with
knee.
Brett Hundley the whole damn year.
Um and then I mean you think about it, like if Green Bay did anything to help that guy, I think we'd have a completely different conversation. Like I think Aaron Rodgers is going
100%.
to
They
have the
never
best season
surrounded
this
him
year.
with anybody, man.
I mean,
Yeah.
I love Devontae
Or let me
Adams.
they surround him with a
Devontae
couple
Adams
people, but they were
needs
all
his
average receivers. And he made them great because if you think about it, every single one
yeah
of them when they
yeah.
left didn't do shit. Jordy Nelson, uh,
Randall
Randall
Cobb did
Cobb
good.
didn't do good when he was in Green Bay. He did good for one season. He had one breakout season, and then after that, yeah, I mean, he
For
did good.
Dallas, I
He
mean.
did good for Dallas. He did the role that
He
was
plays
intended in Dallas. You have to remember though, in Green Bay at one point he was our number
yeah,
one receiver. So he went from a number one
yeah,
to a slot role receiver.
yeah, well, Dallas
Correct, correct.
Dallas didn't have a
And
slot for him.
he's gonna serve the
I
same
mean,
role down in
I
Houston
I had to look.
that he did with Dallas this year.
He
Yeah,
he had, I saw
he's
him
gonna
have a
serve
couple
that slot
catches
role, and
tonight.
he's gonna get targets on short yard situations probably.
But you think about Devonte Adams, if you give him a second guy, a
Yeah,
legit like we'll see with this Lazard guy, but like if you went after there were several free agents. You had I mean, obviously D Hop was a trade, but there are some free agents out there. You know, Dez is still out there. I'm not saying Dez is anything what he used to be, but you give him a
yep.
physical being on that other side,
I l-
and it
I honestly
frees
like
him
the
up.
idea
You know what
of
I mean?
recruiting
Like,
Dez to
I
Green
don't
Bay.
know.
I wish they would do it. I don't think that because
In
well, at
the
the end
end
of the
zone,
day,
man, he
think
would
about
be
it. He's still
incredible.
in shape. He's still working out. Just this last year, he was in shape enough to play
Yeah,
with New
he
Orleans. He
wants to
just
play.
happened to catch a bad break injury wise. But I mean, he's in shape
Oh yeah,
and rock and rolling.
yeah. I mean, he tore the Achilles, which is like pretty
That's a
much
rough one.
can end your
Yeah,
career. But he looks
it's
like
a
he's
rough
still
one. It
there,
takes a minute to rehab
huh?
it, but yeah, I like yeah,
Gotta grow back.
but no, I like the Devonte Adams receiver threat though. I think he's gonna put up probably good numbers every single week just because, like I said, Rodgers doesn't have a whole lot else to throw to. So, but I'm curious to see
Yeah,
though if there's any
yeah,
young receivers emerge on Green Bay. So,
yeah. Just because they'll be open,
hmm
and it'd be like the Tom Brady thing. Tom Brady would always pull these
yep,
random guys. You're like, well, who is
correct.
that? And then they end up balling out. So if you have a who do you have? Do you have any sleepers this year? Any
Okay,
positions? Like
let me
give me a
let's
sleeper.
look. Let's look.
I, I'll throw one. So I like this. I don't know if you consider him a sleeper, but he's definitely not like the top on anybody's list. But I like this Raheem
hmm
Mostert. I don't know how to say his name. He plays for San Francisco. He's a running back. And I tell you why. They have two good running backs. They've got him and Tevin Coleman.
Yep.
Tevin Coleman has that sickle cell disease, so he can't play all the time. He's not going to play all the time. So that leaves a lot of carries for Mostert. And I sound like I'm saying mustard. That team is going to run that power option or that power run play. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to run it down your throats, and they're going to run it, and they're still going to run it. Um, I think that he's a good play. I think that if they give him the ball in the end zone, it's going to be nice.
Yep.
You're going to see some good numbers from that guy. Um,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, that's
I
my
got
dude
I think I got
this
two.
year.
I think one's gonna be more a stretch than the other. But I'll start with the one that I don't think is as much of a stretch. The first one's gonna be Jonathan Taylor, the running back for Indianapolis, the rookie running back. Yeah, or
From
can't
our Came from
is that
Arkansas.
where
No, no,
Wisconsin, Wisconsin.
Was it
No,
Arkansas or
Wisconsin. So
Wisconsin?
right now he's still listed as a
Sorry,
number two
Wisconsin.
back
My bad.
behind Marlon Mack right now. Only thing is though is they're saying that they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
even though he's technically the number two back, the coach has their coach has explained it that it's going to be more used as like a 1-2 punch, kind of like a running back by committee with those two. And apparently, same thing. People
Yep.
ranting and raving about him right now at training camp. So I would not be surprised if he. Yes, he
He's
was
a
insane in
beast.
college, so
You
I would
watch him in
not be
college?
surprised if he eventually turns around, beats out Marlon Mack, becomes number one, gets the majority of the touches. I would not be surprised.
You know, you know who else came from
Who's that?
Wisconsin who was
Yep,
a beast? Melvin Gordon.
yep, sure did. And he's in what Denver now, right? Yep,
Yeah, people are
yep.
discounting him. Just
He
wait.
may be
You
another
give
sleeper.
you
He
give that
may
guy
be
the
another
ball.
sleeper that you see. The
Well, everybody thinks it's going to be running back by committee. Okay, until he starts running the
Mhm.
ball well. Why would you give the ball to
Yep.
Philip Lindsay? Like,
Yep.
give the ball to the dude.
Yep.
You know what I
Why
mean?
would you give to Philip Lindsay when you got Melvin Gordon sitting right there? Give it just
Yeah,
yeah, I just mm, mm-mm. My second one, I think this is more a sleeper for that's going to kind of emerge as the season goes on, um, and that's going to be Jerry Judy, rookie receiver from Bama.
yeah,
Right now, he's not listed as a
yeah.
starter. He's not getting a whole lot of time, but they've been working him in the slot, and they've also been working him in on the outside as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year he slides up to a number two receiver just because he's mad talented, and I don't know who else besides who who else? Who are the other receivers for? Cortland Sutton. That's really about it that they got in
Yeah,
receiver. They've got Tim Patrick. He's
yeah.
kind of getting older, so I think he'll eventually beat him out for it.
They got a good. Hey, they got a nice little tight end that could end up being really good.
Oh
Noah
yeah,
Fant.
yeah. He had a little bit of a coming out party last year too. So
Yeah, I picked him up as a backup
yeah,
on a lot of
but
leagues.
I think that Jerry Judy's going to eventually start seeing a lot of touches. I'm gonna say probably or targets, not touches. Probably by like I'm gonna say like week 5, week 6 when you're gonna probably see a pickup for him.
What do you think about Jalen Rager for the Eagles?
I'm not a. I don't care too much for him right now, just because from everything that I'm seeing, I like him as a player. I don't like him as fantasy option right now. From what I'm seeing, the Eagles don't have a lot of huge plans for him this year, other than just like development and stuff. I hear that he maybe like if you get credit for like punt return yards or like punt return touchdowns or anything like that,
Yeah,
it'd be good because yeah,
like
because he's probably going to
skill.
be from what I hear, he's going to probably be returning the punts.
Here's an interesting guy for you, and I don't think anybody's really talking about him. And I don't know. Well, we'll see. Robbie Anderson
Mm-hmm.
came from the Jets, going
Yep.
for Carolina. Carolina
And then
doesn't
they
have a
got Teddy
lot.
Bridgewater coming in with something to
Yeah, I
prove. He
mean,
came in
I
and
mean,
killed it last year while Drew Brees was out,
yeah,
and he wants to prove that that wasn't a fluke. So he's coming in, and then he's got Robbie
yeah.
Anderson,
Coming off that
and
injury,
Robbie Anderson's not a bad receiver at all. Like,
that's what I'm saying. He's talented. I just I like to look at those guys that are like they're consistently projected like 8, 9, 10
yep,
points, and um, they're for an average, below
yep,
average team. New coach. Maybe this coach, the Baylor coach, the old Baylor coach Matt Rule. Maybe he's got something up his sleeve for this guy. Maybe Teddy Bridgewater figures it out. And man, they run with that guy. Like you never know with these things.
yep. I'm really curious.
Even when the Dolphins were bad, they had good offensive players. They had Devontae
Hmm.
Parker who put up
They had
consistent
Kenyon
points. You know
Drake
what
at
I'm
one
saying?
point,
Like,
who not terrible.
yep. They picked up some
They
decent
had
team. Like their
Magic
draft was
last year.
good. Yeah. Ugh. Hey, talking about a dumpster fire, Chicago.
Oh my goodness,
Like
that yeah.
like Cam Newton was sitting there, and you decided to go with overpaying Fitzpatrick or Fitzpatrick,
They
right?
now they
Is his
got
name? Yeah.
Trubisky and they've got Nick Foles there. Fitzpatrick isn't there. He's still down in Miami.
No, no, no.
Is
He's
he?
with he's with Chicago.
Mm,
I think,
he's a no.
or they
He's
got
oh wait,
somebody.
I pulled up the wrong one. No, yeah no. Fitzpatrick's still in Miami. They got Nick Foles. They got
Oh, I'm sorry, sorry.
yeah.
Other backup. They went
They got
overpay for
Nick
Nick
Foles,
Foles.
and then they're rocking with Mitchell Trubisky.
What a dumpster
Idiots. It's
fire.
fun being a Green Bay fan and watching it. It's actually kind of not because it's not. It's really not fun. Like it, It
Their
yeah,
defense
their
is good
defense is
though.
good. That's the only thing that keeps them in some of the games that they're in is their defense because their
Every
defense
year,
just
every
is
year.
just retardedly good. Like even because like think about before the previous generation was like Brian Urlacher and all them, just they
Yeah,
just
yeah. Brian Urlacher, Tommy
yeah
Harris, like those
they've
guys.
always
Lance
just played
Briggs.
like that like smash mouth defense, but they've never had that great of a
Just
offense. I mean, they had Jay Cutler running the show for quite a while, and I mean average at best.
go Jay
Average at
Cuddy.
best. Just a really strong arm.
Well, They went to the Super Bowl in '06. It was, Peyton's first Super Bowl. They played the Colts, and um, Rex Grossman was their quarterback. They had, I don't know if it's Cedric Benson, and Anthony Thomas, those guys. Like I lived in Illinois at the time, and all my buddies were either Packer fans or they were Bears fans, and I was a Cowboys fan. Obviously, I had a couple of Vikings buddies, but um, the Bears were fun to watch, man. I loved watching Brian
Yep.
Urlacher play. He was like, if I was a running back and I saw that dude staring at me over the middle, I don't know what
Mhm.
I'd do.
Yeah,
You
just,
know what I mean? I'd be like, oh
yeah,
God,
him or
run
Ray
away from
Lewis,
that
either
dude.
one of them, Jesus, no way.
him, Ray Lewis, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, Demarcus Ware. I would
Yeah,
not want to get in their way.
really anybody that plays in the NFL that's good enough to start in the NFL, I'll stay clear of you.
But I'm saying if I'm an
Oh,
NFL
for
running
sure.
back, like Zeke, you remember when Zeke ran over
Yep,
Cam Chancellor when his in,
yep.
in his rookie year?
I think that was
That was
I
awesome.
think during that time, people didn't know what to expect quite fully from Zeke, and he caught some people by some surprise. Uh, but I'm
But you know what? He's kept consistent over 1,000
yeah,
yards every season. And last year he did not nearly
no,
get the ball enough. Freaking Jason Garrett was not
yeah,
feeding him the
which makes no
ball.
sense to me because, like, as good as Dak Prescott is, you got to have the running game too. Like, I mean, Dak is good, but he can't do it all. Gotta.
Obviously, we
Yep,
didn't make the
exactly,
playoffs.
exactly.
And we had the best
Yep,
offense in the league. Tell me how that works.
yep, yeah,
They
yep.
just weren't opportunistic. They weren't they
Poor,
weren't kicking
poor
they weren't
game
making field goals. They
management and
weren't
poor
scoring
defense.
touchdowns.
Really,
I
the
mean,
defense was
yeah.
nowhere near what they were anticipated to be. And then on
Yeah.
top of that, like I said, just poor game management. When you're not running the ball, the your offense is on and off the field. Your defense isn't rested. By the end of the game, you're getting your ass
And
kicked.
they lost their
Yeah.
best linebacker. Their second best linebacker. They lost Leighton Vander Esch for
Yep.
quite some time. It sounds like he's back in the um, the the play, and the secondary was average. Um, you know, they don't have Byron Jones this year, which will be
Hmm.
interesting. They cut freaking haha Clinton Dix. I don't even know what they're gonna do. We'll see. I know they picked up Brandon Carr though back, so that Brandon Carr is gonna probably shift to safety. Um, I don't know. The Cowboys are interesting just because the whole new system. We'll see how it goes. They've got a lot of experienced coaches on that
Hmm.
staff right now. Um, they've got a lot of experienced offensive players, and they got CD Lamb coming in as a little X factor guy. I see CD Lamb kind of playing like the similar game that Marquise
Yep.
Brown plays.
Agree.
Big plays,
Yep.
fast play, um, those types of things. Like you said earlier, it could be fun to watch. He could be another rookie sleeper if they start getting him involved in the offense. I could see it
Yep.
going really
And
well.
I think
You
they
know,
fully intend to do
um,
so. If not, why would they picked a receiver whenever they could have
if
when
I'm
they
the
could have picked
Cowboys,
something else to shore up the
dude,
defense or something like that.
if I'm the Cowboys, I'm running the ball, play action, bootleg, dishing it out to whoever the heck's
Yep.
open. You know, and then I'm not going under shotgun until I
Yep.
have to. Like I'm playing that power eye Alabama
Yep. I mean,
football.
you got the team to do it, so it might as well. But so
Yeah.
moving away from just fantasy real quick, just to kind of wrap up the show here for this week of our first week of football back. What do you think is your games to watch this week for week one?
Well, I'm obviously going to watch the Cowboys and Rams. I think it'll be an interesting
For sure.
matchup. Um, just because like that new stadium, no
Hmm.
fans, it's going to be interesting. I don't. It was really cool to see fans in the stadium. It kind of returned me a little bit to
Yep.
normalcy again. Um, I actually really liked the matchup tonight. I know it didn't end up being that
Yep.
great of a game, but just to watch football again, man,
Yep.
it was nice. Because usually by this time we have preseason, we have college games going on, um, and football, man, for me is not just a game. Like I know what you're talking about, it's just football, but like for me, it's like I grew up as like that's the sport I'm
Hmm.
watching. You know what I mean? Like I'm not watching anything else. Like uh, I don't know. I like the I like Hold on a second. I got one more for you. I like the Tampa Bay New
Yep.
Orleans game. I think that'll be a
Yep.
fun one to watch. Um, obviously, new look Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
So that's going to be like the shiny,
Tampa Bay.
huh? Tampa Bay with the old
Yeah,
Gronk
I agree with
boy.
you. That's my game of the week,
And
man. Just because, yeah,
yeah, and there's a lot of kind of
yep,
duds. Like I think the Vegas Carolina game is going to
yep.
be boring. Um, I think Indian
Colts
or I think
Jags are gonna be boring.
Arizona. Yeah, I think Arizona, San Francisco is going to be a good one just to see DeAndre Hopkins play
Yep,
with Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray to me is the scariest player. I know we should different fantasy, but I think that he's the scariest player for me
yep,
to play start on fantasy. I don't know
yep.
what he's going to do, but it'll be fun to watch DeAndre Hopkins
Mm-hmm.
play. Um, and then rivalry games are always
Yep,
fun, so it'll be fun to watch Chicago, Detroit, and Green Bay,
yep.
Minnesota, um, Philadelphia, Washington.
Not the
Not the
Redskins.
Redskins anymore, so that'll
Washington,
be.
not the Redskins.
I kind of like their look though. I like the look. I don't like that it's just a football team, but like I like
Like the
the
red
jerseys. I
W
think
or
they
whatever.
look nice.
What are the jerseys look like? Let's pull
Yeah,
this
the
jersey.
yellow. It's a yellow W, but they're doing like the old school numbers on the helmet, which I like. Um, uh,
Oh wow.
Miami, New England. That's always an interesting one because Miami always gives New England fits, but we'll get to see Cam Newton play, so that'll
I,
be cool.
I feel like the
Um,
Redskins new jerseys. They remind me of you remember in NCAA whenever you do like the like high you could create your guy to win the Heisman or whatever, and you do the
yeah,
high
yep,
school games, and they just
yep,
have like a basic
yep,
ass uniform where it's a solid color top with white pants, and then just the solid helmet.
yep,
That's what that's what they're
yep,
rocking,
yep,
man.
yep.
But
Hey, you know what, man? I think it's a smart move on their end when it comes to
yeah,
marketing. Instead of just rushing to get a name, really do
hmm
some research on it. Just go with your first one, and then you can roll out. I think it's kind of a smart move. And back in the day, man, they used to be called that. They didn't have nicknames. They were the Chicago Football Club, or they were like soccer teams, kind of the
hmm
same thing.
and this could be something
Not I don't
to
think.
be honest with you. I don't think this will actually happen or not and stick, but this could technically, if you think about it, if they were to stick with it this way and start selling like sponsorships on their shirts, kind of like how soccer does, like that could open up like
Yeah,
dollars to the team. I don't
I
think that'll
hope.
happen in the NFL. I think people are too attached to their teams to let that.
I think the NFL out of all, I think hockey's pretty similar, but I think the NFL out of all the jerseys looks the best. Like it's the
Hmm.
cleanest. I don't think that muddling it up with sponsorships makes to me it makes it look
Yeah.
cheap. And the NFL is not worried about
Hmm.
revenue. They may be worried about revenue
Yeah.
this year because of COVID, but I think once COVID kind of takes a back seat, I think that it'll return to normal. And I think people are going to be paying more money to go to
Yeah.
stadiums. I think next year we'll have a lowered salary cap because revenue was lower. But then that next year, I think it's going to jump right back up, if not more than what it
Right.
was before. Um, because people aren't going to boycott NFL forever. Like I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. Um, and I think that I just see the NFL making this huge resurgence. I think sports in general. I think if these teams can survive this season, I think that next year will be one of the best sports seasons ever because people are just
Yep.
wanting to get back. They want to
Right.
watch. Everybody thought the NBA playoffs would suck.
Yep.
It was fun. NHL
Hell
playoffs
yeah,
has
go
been fun
Stars!
to
We won
watch.
tonight.
Um, yeah, stars, man. Hey, man, we could see it. Hopefully, we'll see
Maybe.
the Stanley
Yeah,
Cup. That'd be
possibly.
awesome.
Two
Um,
wins to get there.
um,
Two more wins to get there. As of right now, Thursday night when we're recording, there'll be another game on Saturday.
you know what? The one sport that I don't think anybody talks about that crowd affects a lot is golf.
Yeah.
Um, just think about when you play, and you play by yourself, and you're just hitting the ball, not thinking about anything. And you hit the
Hmm.
ball well, right? You're like cool. But then you got like buddies watching you, telling you your swing, or you're like, say you go around somebody, you hit the ball near somebody, and they're just watching you. You tend to screw the swing up because those
Yep.
people are watching you. Like I don't know. I think that the crowd affects people, and they even said like a lot of players will have watches and they'll try to keep track of their heart rate because when their heart rate goes up in golf, you're not as calm and
Mhm.
focused, and they don't play
Yeah.
as well. And they said that they track their heartbeat whenever there's fans. Their heart rate's higher than
Makes
when
it
there's no
tougher. That makes
fans.
sense because I that's one of the reasons why I don't like golfing like by myself because usually you get thrown in a pair with somebody, and it's somebody you have no
Yep,
clue who they are, and if they're real good and me, I'm not that good. I feel like I'm
judging you.
getting judged. Feel like I'm holding them up. Stuff like that. It
Yeah,
it sucks, and then and kind of vice versa. If like the person that you're playing with is really really bad. Now, obviously, like I'm not. You got to be real real bad for me to think you're real bad because I'm real bad. You know, but no,
yeah,
like yeah, I think the crowds definitely affect it. I mean, even in really any of the sports, really, I think it affects it a lot too because like don't get me wrong, the hockey playoffs have been great, but it is weird without the crowd.
different.
I feel like as a fan watching it, it's just the same though because they're pumping the crowd noise into it. So like when there's a big hit,
Yeah,
you hear the crowd roar. But I don't think it actually
yeah,
affects the players when they hear the crowd roar like that, like they do now, because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
um they
It's a
know it's not
different
a real
sound.
crowd there, like getting hyped about it, right? But like what I have
Yeah,
noticed with like hockey, instead of playing for the crowd right now, a lot of them are just like they're playing for each other basically. So you hear a lot of like
yeah,
they get
yeah,
loud on the bench and stuff like that, and it's kind of reminds me of like junior league stuff whenever like everybody's yelling for the teammates off the bench stuff. It's pretty cool stuff. But
yeah, yeah. Kind of go back to the root
yeah,
of the sport.
exactly, exactly. But yeah, man. I think this is a good episode back. I'm glad to be back doing this. It was a good deal. We'll have to keep it rolling.
Yeah, hey man, I just think back to several months ago when we were on the podcast and Mark Cuban got that text about the NBA
Uh huh.
shutting down and we were like, well, we talk about sports and we obviously talked about the draft and we had a
Yep.
couple podcasts after that, but
It,
once
it was
sports
tough.
died, it was like it was
Yeah,
tough
and
to
then
keep
and then
going.
once
Yeah,
they kind of started coming back, but like you said, just we had to get back in the groove. By that point, we had started trying to do other things at that point. But they're back. Football's back, so I'm glad we'll be doing this. For all y'all that are tuning back
yeah,
into this episode, stay tuned. We're gonna keep rolling them out again. We've kind of hashed out our schedule to where we'll be able to hop on and do this. We're probably going to change the release to every Sunday morning. Try and get it out before football games start each week. So y'all keep tuning in. On the words of golf, if you play PGA 2K21 on the PlayStation 4, go check out our Golf Society, the BS Academy. Send us requests to join. We'll add you. Later, guys.